With the Christian Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said in every episode, we got a great one for you. In fact, today is our 500th interview since January 2020. So we're excited to have a very special one for our big 500. And who do we have?
We have Parker McCollum with us today. He's a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. Straddling Texas and Nashville, Parker is a no-holds-barred confessional singer-songwriter who excels at relatable tales, according to Rolling Stone. Parker wrote all 10 songs that make up his album, Gold Chain Cowboy, including his platinum-selling #1 hit, Pretty Heart, and his latest song, Climbing on Country Radio, To Be Loved by You.
And we're going to talk about all that and a little bit more. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Oh, thank y'all for having me.
It's our pleasure. I always like to start the show out the same way as last 18 months has been rough for the entertainment industry. So how did COVID affect what you do, and what have you done to maneuver through this during these crazy times?
2020 was, I think, for everybody in any industry was rowdy, to say the least. Kind of a lot of uncertainty. At the beginning of it, I kind of said I was going to woodshed and write all these songs in practice, and I just did everything but that. And so it's kind of, once we cut this album at the beginning of this year, it was kind of rushed, and I was kind of guessing on a lot of it and was kind of fed up with the process a little bit. And there was a lot of, I really just didn't know the direction of how it was going to go. I felt like maybe we had missed our big shot and everything we had worked for, with having a platinum selling song, #1 song when the world was closed down. But as soon as the world opened up this year and we were back on the road, it was like we never missed a beat. So it was way down in 2020, and then it's been all the way up in 2021. And it's I just hope it stays up.
And we definitely know where you're coming from, because we launched this show January of 2020, so a couple months before COVID. And the original plan was maybe 100 interviews last year. We thought if we could do that, great foundation. And then COVID happens. And I'm looking at everything being shut down. I told Sandy, well, we can't change COVID, but we can try to grow through it. So we just upped our game. And because of that, you're our number 500 interview since launch.
Come on. I love it. That's a great title to
have. So I see that you have a new NFT fan club. Tell us about that.
Man, it's a crazy, I never even heard of NFT until and really kind of a buddy of mine sent it to me, and really kind of started reading about it and researching. And, we were approached by Music FX, and they had this idea of, being the first country artist to do it, and kind of basing it around the club, which really kind of lit a light bulb in my mind of, something we could do for our fans. They have the best fans in the world. So when they dropped that in there, I was all in. And essentially, right, an NFT is a digital asset. In this case, being a fan club, a lot of them are incentivized, right? It gives you the opportunity to have special access to all kinds of stuff we're doing. Obviously prizes are one of them, but getting to go to the ACMs or before a show with me and a fan, or sitting in on a sound check at a big show. It's kind of endless, and however big you want your imagination to run. It's a really cool way for our fans to kind of have that one step closer look into the behind the scenes stuff and all the stuff we have planned for 2022. And I'm still really kind of wrapping my head around a lot of it, and it kind of seems like the sky's the limit, endless possibilities. But it's a great way for me to kind of connect with my fans and that relationship grow a little more. And anytime that, if something provides an opportunity like that, you can't pass on it.
Oh, definitely. And we got a question from one of our friends, Joe. He says, Is it true that you worked on your grandfather's cattle as a cowboy?
I did. Yeah, that's what I did every summer growing up. Me and my cousins worked for my granddad. He had 2 ranches, one in East Texas and one in Central Texas. And we'd go up there for the whole summer. And it is not anything glamorous whatsoever. My granddad was one of the realest cowboys, one of the greatest human beings I've ever known, one of the greatest cowboys to ever live. And man, he was. They do not make people like him anymore. That is a fact. And my greatest memories of my entire life are working for him at that ranch. And those days were really, really long and really hard and really, really hot. But I wish I would have, realized how grateful I was to get to do that.
Yes.
And learn that I learned, ranching for him. I didn't really appreciate how big of a deal that was and how big of an opportunity that was until I was older. But when I look back at my childhood, the best days of my life were working on that ranch.
Wow. Now, you blew up in Texas first. What made the transition to Nashville?
I think, honestly, I felt like, when COVID happened, it was the first time since I had kind of started touring several years ago that was the first time I was forced to kind of sit back and slow things down, and I was forced to think about everything, and kind of took a good long hard look at where I was and how far we had come and what I wanted to do next. We had climbed Texas, and it kind of seemed like there was this big mountain on the national stage staring me in the face, kind of saying, you can't do this. At least that's how I looked at it.
Wow.
So I was sitting during COVID, and I said, you know what? I feel like I moved to Austin when I graduated high school to play country music for a living, and I had done that. I felt like I had accomplished everything I moved to that city to do. And everything I wanted to do beyond that, I felt like I had to move to this city to do.
Yeah, it was time for the national scale.
Yeah, just to see if you got what it takes to swing it on the big stage. And I feel like, I absolutely have what it takes to do that. And so this is where I felt like I had to come to prove that.
Did you ever imagine Pretty Heart be the song that explodes?
No, sir. And I don't ever, that kind of stuff never crosses my mind. To be totally frank and honest, I never think about hit songs or how successful a song is going to be. I just write the best songs that I can, the ones I believe in the most, and then put those on an album and put it out. And if one of them gets to go, that's pretty good.
So how did that song come about?
That song was an idea I'd had for like 3 or 4 years. And I'd never co-written before, really. And a guy named Randy Montana, who's one of my good buddies now, and we had been booked for a co-write, and I didn't really know how those went. I didn't know really kind of the process of co-writing, and walked in and I said, man, I got this idea that I'd forgotten about, and just remember, I had it for 3 or 4 years, and kind of resurfaced, and sang a little bit of the chorus that I had for Randy, and his eyes kind of lit up, and he said, man, let's chase that. And we wrote the song, and rather quickly compared to other songs. Wow. And I remember we wrote it that day, and I left, and I was like, man, we just wasted that idea. That ain't it. And then the label really liked it, and they wanted me to go in and cut it.
Yeah.
And so we recorded it. And when I was in the studio recording it, I kind of had a little change of heart, and I realized that song bad as I thought it was. It was as good as everybody else eventually ended up thinking it was. But man, I'm sure glad it was the one that got to go.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory in what you do, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get to your level. And I always want to talk about that, because I think sometimes people think, well, if you got the talent, it's an easy ride, but it's not. It's, you could have all the talent in the world and you still not make it within country music. So what are some of the sacrifices and struggles you've had to go through to even get to where you are today?
Sacrifices specifically, I missed every wedding and birthday party and birth of a niece or a nephew. You name it. I've missed every single thing since I was 23 years old. Because I was somewhere playing, trying to get it, trying to make it happen, trying to make it. And so that's really kind of been the biggest thing. And it's kind of, nothing has changed really. I miss, everything. I never get to, there's no birthday parties or anything I get to attend, because I'm always on the road. Everything that everybody does like that is on a weekend, and I'm usually on the other side of the country on stage. So that's really been probably the biggest sacrifices, just missing all the important stuff. But if it works, I guess it's worth it.
Yeah, because again, being in an entertainment industry, it's one of them things that if you don't have the passion, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, you just got to want it. It's no different from anything else in life. Whether you're working at a bank or selling cars or, or playing country music for a living, however much you want to hustle and however much you want to put into it is exactly what you're going to get out of it. And so I feel like when I was younger, I was a little lazy, didn't have much direction. didn't have much of a work ethic towards music. And so once I kind of realized that those things were mandatory to get to where I wanted to go, it was pretty easy to implement those.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the front person, but they don't see the team behind you. In our opinion, the teams never get the love they deserve. But on our show, they get some love. So take a few moments to tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Yeah, I mean, first off, Corby Shaw was a guitar player for one of my favorite bands in the world. When I met him, produced my first album, which we had a song, Meet You in the Middle, kind of blow up for us at the very beginning, which was nice to have a song off your debut album have that much success. That certainly helps. Lloyd Maines was a huge part of this process, produced my second album. He's a legend. My radio team at Universal Records pushing pretty hard as much as they did and as hard as they did changed my life. My management, Red Light Management, Matthew Miller and Enzo DiVincenzo, my managers are absolutely phenomenal. They work just as hard, if not harder than I do. It's Jesse Vaughn at my publishing company, my point of person, Ben Vaughn, the president of Warner Chappell, where my publishing deal is. All those people believed in me from day one, from the first time they ever heard me sing my first word. And so without those people, I would be nowhere even close to where I am.
It truly takes a village.
Yeah, no question. It is like you said, I mean, most people just see me up there on stage, kind of reaping all the benefits of the hard work. And man, those people behind the scenes are what really makes it go.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our little 9-year-old.
His name is Christopher.
We had asked a couple questions. I said he's going to get him real quick. Get him real quick. And we've got a 2.5-year-old daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we are a family affairs show. And our buddy Joe asked another question: do you have any influences outside of country music?
I certainly do, which I think some of his songs are more country than people give him credit for. But John Mayer's probably tied for my number one most influential artist I've ever come across. He is somebody that I would collab with in a heartbeat. I just can't even say enough about the talent level he possesses and how much effort and time and detail and that he puts into his craft. So something I admire.
He's definitely good.
What's going on, man?
It's going good. Hi, Parker.
What's up?
It's going good. So what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? Man, it's hard. I like a ribeye. I like to cook my own ribeye. It's probably my favorite thing to eat in the world.
What's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Oh, come on. I love pizza.
Yeah.
He could eat it all day long. Okay, one more.
All right. So what's your favorite TV show?
My favorite TV show is Cheers. It's from way back in the day, even before my time, but I watch it all the time on Netflix.
And what's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Yeah, I love SpongeBob. That's awesome.
Yeah, and what's been cool is because we bring on not just music, but we also bring on actors and all that he watches a lot of Nickelodeon and Disney shows and all that. So we've been bringing quite a bit of people from his shows on this for him to talk to.
That's pretty cool, man. That's a special deal.
Is it cool?
Yes, it is. Well, bye. Thanks.
You, Christopher. Thank you.
Yeah, he loves to be on the show and been on everything. So if you could co-write with any artist out there, dead or alive, who would it be?
Any artist, dead or alive?
And you know what? Let's just make us go one step further. Go one that's not here and one that is here.
One that's dead would. Oh man, that's a tough one. One that is dead. Well, I mean, alive certainly would be John Mayer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
But who is no longer here? Man, I don't know. I mean, I would love to write. I would love to have gotten to sit around and be creative with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I think that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
That would be amazing. So, what are some sources of inspiration for you?
Real life kind of seems to always be the number one source of inspiration for me.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Always kind of, I love sad songs, so I'll put on my favorite sad songs, stare out the window, and it seems like every time I do that, before too long, there's a song on the table.
Love that. And what would you like your legacy to be in the music industry? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
what would I want to be most remembered for? Probably just someone who never switched up, always stayed very honest to themselves, and did it the hard way. Started from the bottom and tried to do it the hard way, and never strayed away from who he truly was, and had a lot of success doing that.
Awesome. And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
I would say get ready for a wild, crazy 2022 because we coming.
I love that.
You always have these sayings for each year. Our saying is breakthrough 22.
Yes.
I love it. Breakthrough 22. Come on.
Because and that's how we feel with our show, and we know that you're breaking through some big limits. I mean, has the ride so far hit you yet?
No, I mean, honestly, I never think about it. In my mind, I got a long, long way to go. I've been incredibly blessed and incredibly fortunate to do what I've done so far. But I'm miles and miles and miles away from my ultimate goal of what I'd really like to accomplish. So in my mind, I'm still at the bottom. And
you blew up, in the middle of a pandemic. Right. Is that not crazy?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's not how I drew it up, but I'll take whatever I can get.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you had a friend of yours and they were good at what they did, they could sing, they feel like they're called to this. What advice would you give that person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
Going back to that same thing, I think just being yourself, right? It's a lot easier to go to sleep at night when you know that you stayed true to yourself, stuck to your guns, did things how you thought they should be done. Win or lose, I can live with that.
I love that. So what's a song that you've heard that you wish you wrote?
That's a long list. Far Away in Another Town by Justin Townes Earl is one that I really wish I'd have written. There's several Chris Knight songs, probably all of them that I wish I'd have written. The Search for Everything by John Mayer is definitely one of them.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes.
So what's next for you?
Golly, I feel like it's not even what's next. It's just what's happening right now. I feel like we stop or slow down at all. But man, 2022 is going to be a great year. We're going to hit the ground running. Our year really starts on the 30th of this month. We're until November of the end of the year. So it's probably 140 shows and a new album if I had to say something.
I love that. Yeah. So take a few moments just to tell everybody any final parting words and how they can find you.
Man, we're on everything, parkermccallum.com, all the social media stuff, Spotify, Apple Music. If it's out there, we're on it. Get ready for a crazy 2022 because it's go time right now. We're looking forward to it.
We really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back maybe for a longer session.
Yes, I hope so. Chris and Sammy, thank y'all so much.
Oh, thank you for your time today. Have a great day.